free radicals of all shapes, sizes, colors, denominations, orientations, educations, and political affiliations. I don't have that memorized. It's just it's right off the top of my head. Aloha, for those of you who believe in aloha, my name is Dave. I am the Radical Independent, and guess what? So are you if you're watching this channel. God help you if you're going to watch this video. Because with me, you never know what you're going to get. I'm kind of unhinged. I'm not stable. I get instructions from, the mother country, and then, I put it out there. And I got some new instructions from Vlad and his crew yesterday, and tell you what, they're awesome. This guy, if I'm going to do any bidding for anybody, it's going to be for, all right, I got to stop because the demonetization is coming. Tulsi Gabbard, something more is coming. That's the title of this video. Something more has to be coming. And let's outline as to why something more has to be coming. And it's not just, hey, because look, we are currently living inside the definition of insanity. All right, we are like game characters inside a video game called Insanity. And the DNC, basically, they've got the program, they wrote the software for this game, and we're inside of it, and we're playing along. We're just, our characters, I've heard the whole non-playable character meme, and people get so upset, they're like, you are a non-playable character, because you're just sitting there. You're sitting there, you're worried about what to buy people for Christmas. Okay? And the DNC knows this. They know all of this stuff. That's why Tom Steyer is polling at 7% in South Carolina. And I told people, you don't worry about Steyer. He's got deep pockets. Now, Bloomberg has those deep pockets too, and he's running a ton of advertising. The only difference is visibility. If Bloomberg is not going to do interview after interview, and if he's not going to do the debates because he can't, because he'd have to take money from people in order to get into the debates. I could just see some of his supporters like, oh, please, Mike, we know you've got $53 billion at your disposal, but please let us send you money so you can be on the debate stage. Yeah, Mike Bloomberg is really good friends with Hillary Clinton. All you gotta do is connect these dots, and it's really sad that most Americans don't care. Bloomberg commercial came on TV, and my wife, who really doesn't know Bloomberg, she's like, he's bad, isn't he? I said, yeah, he's bad. He's bad because he's a big corporate stooge, and he just thinks he can, tell me how much soda I can drink, Mike. That's his claim to fame, seriously. Oh, and stop and frisk in New York, let's, again, very policy that, a few years ago, people were just like, yeah, whatever. The Democrats and liberals, yeah, that's a good policy. He's really tough on crime. And now it's like, oh no, Mike Bloomberg. And then he goes out and he apologizes. It's just pathetic. It's the same stuff. Hillary Clinton, they grovel before all of their constituents, the minority audiences who they claim to represent. And then they do policy that goes exactly against that philosophy. So, and then they come around and they say, oh, I'm sorry, we had to make the city safe. And, I would own it. That's what I would do. I would own it if you don't like it. Like Joe Biden, even though I don't agree with him fat-shaming the guy and everything, it's like, if these people, they grovel, you know why they grovel? Because they got no policy. They're just having these discussions with people, and it shows weakness if you're immediately going, oh, I'm so sorry what I did. And yeah, maybe, preemptively you need to apologize, but it should be sincere. And by the way, it should be, also the contrition should contain some type of change in policy. Like, hey, from now on, we're going to do X, because I learned my lesson. This didn't go well. But they don't do that stuff. They just grovel and they think everybody's going to forgive them, and they've got nothing. Neoliberals, they got nothing. That could be on the bumper sticker. So, this video is about how Tulsi Gabbard, there has to be something more. That's the title of this video. Tulsi Gabbard, there has to be something more. And why? Why do I say that? Character. It's in her character not to quit. So you're saying, well, the political process is rigged. You've been talking about this. You've been complaining. You're mad at people talking about the horse race. Yeah, I get tired of the horse race. I'd rather have them talk about the racetrack. All right? This racetrack is tilted. This racetrack is muddy. This racetrack is dirty. It's corrupt. It needs to be ripped up and replaced with a nice brand new racetrack for the horses to run on. And by the way, if you don't like horse racing, I'm sorry for the analogy. I know it's not great for the horses, but it's an analogy. It's tortured. Look, the problem that we're all facing as we move forward is we're all grappling with the notion that the corruption can be overcome by us. Because that is the only answer. Because people will go to a Tulsi Gabbard rally and they'll say, Tulsi, how are we going to fix this? What are we going to do? And she'll say, it's up to us. It's up to you and me to fix it. And even though she's right, there's part of me that feels like that's kind of like, it's almost as if that's not attainable anymore. It's this idea, by the way, that someone will say to me, do you think Tulsi Gabbard's going to be able to overcome the military-industrial complex? Do you think she's going to be able to tell these generals, to back down? I was told that the generals just go and do what the person at the top wants them to do. I just think there's some intermediaries between the generals and, the commander-in-chief that heavily advise the president and then go back and tell the generals something completely different. I mean, I'm seeing it with Trump. Trump's instincts aren't to bomb everybody. Trump publicly says things that the military-industrial complex cringes over. And it's not just because he mangles syntax, okay, which Donald Trump does every day. He'll say something like, I don't know if we should have a war in Syria. He said something like, I don't think 10 million people should die. He said that out loud, and that was pretty good. By the way, progressives and others, give Trump credit when he does something like that. Okay, I live in Realville, and if Donald Trump says something that I go, okay, that isn't bad. Now, is it rhetoric mostly? Yeah, because it's a machine. So a lot of people will ask me, well, why do you think Tulsi will do better? Because Tulsi's going in there with a mandate if she gets elected. Because we know, because her top issue is regime change war. So that's how I think she'll have a lot more say at the end of this. All right, she's going to get in there and she'll say, hey, you know what I ran on? Let's look at our footprint all around the world and let's try to reduce our military footprint. And again, quick note for those of you who care about climate change, if you're going to elect Mike Bloomberg, who says he's, big, and Tom Steyer, I care so much, I'm a climate bug. That's what Tom Steyer says. He's a climate bug. Okay, Tom, well, if you're a climate bug, then you really have to reduce the military budget and bring a lot of these troops home because they're spewing noxious gases into the atmosphere. You can't have a big military. You can't have this huge military footprint and expect to have any impact in a good way on the climate. Just throwing it out there. I know you don't hear this in the media too much. I'd love to go on some MSNBC type show and go, you know what? None of these people are really concerned about climate change. Tom Steyer isn't. Joe Biden isn't. None of them are. Because if they were, they'd be interested in reducing the military footprint around the world, which is creating a lot of the climate change we're currently seeing. It's true. How many countries? We got wars going in 6 different places? And we got interventions, and according to Mayor Pete, we do security in places like Mexico. Security. Mayor Pete, come on, buddy. Security. Don't you love how they dumb the language down for the people on the couch who are going, oh yeah, I'm glad we're doing security in Mexico. This is great. This is awesome. We're just going to spend money, and people in Mexico are going to be safe, and the drug flow, it's just going to stop. How about you end the war on drugs? How about that one? Tulsi Gabbard wants to do that. I don't know. Does Mayor Pete want to end the war on drugs? I don't think he does. He might, but his platform is a platitude, so I don't know. So, all right, so here again, let me get back to the original premise here. Something more has to be coming, all right? So we talked about integrity. We talked about the fact that I think she cares too much. She just cares too much about people, and people who come to her rallies say, how are you going to do this? How are you going to get around this? And Tulsi has great answers for these questions, but if the system is completely rigged against her, the only outcome at the end of this is a movement that is organic and is not Democrat, it's not Republican. It cannot be Democrat or Republican. If you're going to do the traditional thing, I think people on both sides, by the way, are tired of that. Some of the people who voted for Trump, they're like, okay, a lot of these things didn't change. Okay, Trump greased the wheels of the economy and, killed a lot of regulations and stuff, and that helped a lot of these businesses. But they're not paying wages. They're not paying their workers. And some of these regulations, especially when it comes to clean air and clean water, you don't repeal clean air and clean water. All right, you just don't do that. I mean, we got billions of people around the world. Guess what? We need some regulations to keep the air and the water clean. I'm willing to pay a couple bucks in taxes, extra money, so you can build, things to keep the air and water clean. I know that's crazy, but another thing I wrote down about Tulsi is this would go against her character. All right, she's exhibited a real high degree of moral character. Like, she'll say something and she'll mean it. Okay, so I don't see how this movement stops because a process is completely rigged and against anyone who wants to make real change. Tulsi Gabbard is not just preaching real change, she's written a ton of legislation which shows me that she's dedicated to it. And she's willing to work with anybody to get these things done. Anybody. I know, again, if you're a TYT fan and you stumble on this video for some reason, and you're watching this and you go, oh, she can't work with those evil Republicans or those evil whoever, we got to get stuff done. The tribal BS is just destroying political discourse. Like, you can't have a conversation with somebody. And it's ridiculous. And we've got to get over this us versus them. I mean, I can give you this example. On Facebook the other day, someone's complaining about, I won't name the person, but they're complaining about they're going to the supermarket and their food prices supposedly are going up. Now, I've seen the exact opposite where I live. Of course, I shop at Walmart. They don't pay their workers very good wages, but I shop there because it's convenient, it's close, blah, 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 blah. And I've actually seen prices coming down. Now, her thing, when you get to it, is she blamed the tariffs on increased food prices, and there's no acknowledgement of these agribusinesses that have come in, like a Walmart, like an Amazon, and created kind of like it's us or it's no one. All right, and there's all kinds of factors where food prices can go up and down. Climate change actually affects that, and you could go down the list of variables. But when you boiled what she was saying down, it was, I hate Trump. And I'm like, okay, you hate Trump, but this isn't, I don't think this is, number one, I don't think prices are outrageous right now. Maybe I'm wrong. And number two, there's so many other things you could talk about Trump on. Tariffs is not one of them. We've been screwed by Democrats for decades. Bill Clinton, NAFTA, GATT, all of that stuff is under Bill Clinton. Okay, Obama, the TPP, and these people, because they can't think. Because they're so just mired in tribalism and blind orange man bad hatred. All right, and Tulsi Gabbard wants to transcend that. She's like, look, Trump's bad. We all know he's bad. But we got to be able to offer something to people. We can't just run on, hey, your team is winning and I want your team to lose now. Because guess what? You're pushing sympathy toward him. Even if people don't agree with him, they're going to go, you know what? This has just been ridiculous. It's been 4 years of not letting the guy try to govern. And what's going to happen when your person gets into the White House? It's going to be the same thing. The other side is going to go crazy. This is what you did to our guy for 4 years. So you guys think we're going to get anything done? No. So this is why Tulsi Gabbard's movement is so important, because, you know, she's looking to find solutions. Cooperation party, solutions party, something that's geared toward helping people and not about, you know, sort of this, again, the horse race mentality I keep saying, ratings and clicks and so forth to keep people and people are making a fortune off the fact that there's real hatred where there doesn't need to be hatred. There needs to be aloha and love. And that's why I don't think Tulsi Gabbard is going anywhere. So that's kind of the premise of my video. There's got to be something more coming, because we all know who Tulsi Gabbard is. And if there isn't something more coming, then we really didn't know Tulsi Gabbard all that well. And I think it's the former and not the latter. And I'm praying it's the former, because without a real movement to change the way we do politics, it's not ever going to change. And things are just going to get gradually worse, more polarized, more divisive, and our problems aren't going to be solved, because people are going to be too busy fighting to even see the problem. All right, so that's my video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Also, if you can donate a few bucks via PayPal one time, I will put my email for PayPal in the description of this video. You know, I do these videos because I really believe that Tulsi Gabbard is the best candidate we've had in decades running for the White House. And she's got the spirit of John F. Kennedy, and I truly believe that. I know, you know, it was supposed to be Beto O'Rourke, and Bill Clinton years ago was supposedly the JFK, and oh yeah, John Edwards. Forgot about John Edwards. He was supposed to be the next JFK too. Tulsi Gabbard, she's closer to JFK than any of those people, and JFK has been described as like the last real president we had, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. All right, it's just we've had presidents since then, but JFK, I think, was really trying to take on a lot of different things, and that's why his political career and his life were cut short. So let's keep Tulsi Gabbard in our thoughts and prayers too, as she's freezing her butt off in New Hampshire. All right, I'll be back soon. See you then.